Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Saturday night stream. Today we're gonna start tackling the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I've been looking forward to this so badly. Can't wait. If the game volume is a little bit low, I'm actually gonna up it just a tiny bit already. Alright, here we go. Stream Elements has also caught up. Awesome. Thank you, Willie, so very much for your subscription continuation. Alright, let's select adventure. Select adventure new game. What does it mean if I select adventure? Oh, the episodes, right, so I can just do that. Well, I'm gonna do new game. I've never touched this game before. I'm so excited!
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, month to celebrate, and some was swept away by the tide.
Thank you so much, Tanalina. Oh, goodness. Well, that's some head.
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Okay, this seems exciting. Hello, Tosef. Welcome. Okay. Episode 1. I'm so excited. Still can't believe it. Still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors of this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? Bailiff. What? Oh, no, nothing. Save your glares, murderer. Sorry. Goodness me. Ryunosuke, okay. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, sorry, Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. Okay, whose voice is this? That's enough. He's not obligated to listen to such abuse, officer. Is this my defending, person? Hello, Karyev. And who are you?
New year, new game. I like it.
I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him like as a criminal. Ooh, nice. Sword. And a hype train! Woohoo! Thank you guys so very much. No one has the right to treat him as a criminal, so you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. He does have a schoolboy uniform. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. So we're that kind of a person. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. He's having so much fun. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by a student. But obviously you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. And there's something to worry about. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. Also in his second year at the Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much, yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. We have a very active chat going on. So good to see you guys there. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. Hello there. Only iced coffee? Thank you for the choo-choos. I'm really happy for you. I'm proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better get going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Danlunum says that's not aura, that's a bandana. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Who's this guy? Let's see. Oh, Asogi, may I have a word? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellence's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at a university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. Wow, we got an extra emote. That's pretty awesome. Thank you guys for being so excited about this with me. This is awkward. If I may... Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name before from Kazuma. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me a lot about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. Oh. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? Ah, as I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling that Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. But he's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered. But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand, once proceedings get underway. Huh? But then what should I do? Well, naturally I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not? Do you accept the accusation brought? Surely not. Do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once! The angriest bailiff in the world. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. Surreptitious, that's a pretty new word for me. Buenos Aires says how to maximize someone's anxiety. Sound cryptic right before your murder trial. Yes. So, allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear full? I guess he could be found guilty for tardiness. Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway, because I'm the prosecution, the judge, and the jury, and I decide that you're a murderer, because otherwise I would be wrong. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I don't know, how about you get found guilty for murder, maybe die? I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence, the trial that would decide my destiny. November, 9 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom. Judicature. That's probably it. So, this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature. Is that how it's said? Judicature? Judicature? Judicator? How am I supposed to know how to say that? English language sucks. If this was a Finnish word, I would just say the Supreme Court of Judicature, and it would be simple and easy. Judicator. Judicator? Judicator? Is that how it's said, really? Judicator. Joseph said Judicator. Okay. The Supreme Court of Judicator. Judicator. Alright. So, Judicator. Like that? Judicator. The Supreme... Oh, sorry, wrong word. Judicator. Alright, perfect. Now, those I know. The Supreme Court of Judicator. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that have demanded that this be a secret trial. The powers that be have demanded. A secret trial? A trial that's close to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It will become clear in time. But for now... You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. Oh! The judge looks so fancy. Okay, oh gosh, what sort of voice should we give to him? The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Is this an okay voice for a judge? Or should it be raspier? Is this good? Azuri says that Kazuma must be an airbender because his bandana is constantly just flowing in the air. That's pretty funny. Tazu says, I'd like to think he brings a fan around with him to help it flow. Dylanum says, in my headcanon is that he pays someone to constantly blow air in his face. That is pretty funny idea. Alright. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Why did I say it in such a crappy way? Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency.
As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made... am I saying that right? The defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That is correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obligated to ask for final confirmation now. Oh, goodness gracious. Wow, that guy tried to trick us. Big time. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? What's the question that's the question Professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Oh my goodness, we can have a decision here. I wonder if it matters. Oh my gosh. What are we gonna do, guys? I mean, our friend has made this decision. I don't know if it's fair for us to make a decision for him. Yeah, I think we're gonna wait and see for a moment. Kazuma is the lawyer here. I can't defend myself. If I said I do, it would be tantamount to lying. And I've been accused of murder, for goodness sake. This is no time for lies. Try to stop fidgeting, Ryunosuke. It's distracting. But if I don't say I'll defend myself now, things could end very badly for my friend. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will... What's the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be... What? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything just how before the trial, and he did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were close to me. Oh. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off. No, it's not that really. It's just... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel. Which is exactly why I decided to not tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Julian Reyes says best Obi-Wan voice, hello there. Where's the Obi-Wan voice? Azera says, don't you hate it when you accidentally bring your katana into the courtroom? That must get in the way so often. Hey there. And greetings, Julian Reyes. Welcome to the stream.
Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already, renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Yeah? Oh, yes? Exactly. Julian Reyes says, hello, I love your YouTube content. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you're here. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. Of course you're not. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. It's okay, Ryunosuke. Mine is a buzz with excitement. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated the most heinous crime indeed.
Where's my fan? I have a fan somewhere. Oh, right, I haven't unpacked it yet.
Dang it.
As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature. Judicator of Japan, right? Cater, not catcher. Judicator of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Oh, yes?
Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case.
Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But, wait. Oh, so it's teaching us now probably how to access the files. Ugh, I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again?
Junosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank.
You know me so well.
All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. Court record.
But I can't even find that. No!
It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of right button. This. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there.
So I just have to press the right button for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. Pressing right button. Then says you just said it right and then reversed back to the AU spelling. Where? Court record? Court record? What did I do? What did I do? I'm sorry. And I use mostly American English. I'm very, very, very sorry, Dinalunum. Judicator.
I am so sorry.
Proof that I'm a student at the Imperial Yume University. I always wear it on the collar of my uniform jacket. Okay. I try switching to people instead with right button. Okay.
You find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press P to go back. John H. Wilson, the victim of this case, he was visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from British Empire. Taketuchi Auchi.
The lead prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes the cultural reformations has brought about. Yujin Mikotoba, a medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He's an authority in forensic medicine and Kazuma's mentor. Kazuma Asogi, a second year at the Imperial Yume University. He's my best friend and despite being a student, qualified defense lawyer as well.
So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record.
Elenum says, it's okay, I'm just a snub. Yeah, I'm kind of overthinking every word right now because I want to do perfect job. I love these games. I want to do them justice. Now you better not keep his excellency waiting any longer. Go on.
Find the victim in the people section of the court record and then press Y to present. Try it now. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson.
Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. I am such a cool guy.
Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilled on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? How do you like this guy's voice? Is it annoying enough?
Azir says main character is going to succumb to tetrarchia. tachycardia of stroke or some kind.
Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor?
I love doing that stupid voice. But I didn't do it.
This case coming under great scrutiny from our allies is coming. On the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes to be for a speedy resolution to this matter.
In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymaker. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So, that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. Queen Azuri says, Tachycardia is the Latin word for heart go big zoom. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better get going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson.
Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency? Oh, thank you, Diane Lunam, for sacrificing to the Copper Gods.
How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death.
The cause of death? Well, obviously that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Is this guy really studying law? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select percent. Well, obviously it's the post-mortem report. This occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body, so it's still inside. Or was fished out during biopsy.
Yes!
Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhage. I'm pretty sure that it's hemorrhagic death due to a gunshot trauma.
Learn to read, you imbecile. The post-mortem report. I take it.
Sorry, yes, that's right. Post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death. It's an autopsy, right? Not autopsy, biopsy. Biopsy is done to people who are alive. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion.
Wait, is the stake... Does the stake have a hole behind this guy? Because it looks a bit like there is a hole in the stake behind this guy. It's very round, same kind of shape. Almost too much the same kind of shape. Maybe the thing did go through him. Besides, if he bled out, there is very little blood. But then again, this is a game that is not fully gory, so maybe they didn't think about that. Okay, never mind.
In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at a close range.
Thank you, Counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record.
The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. A photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible.
Very well. I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial.
Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened.
Oh, this is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes, clearly. You're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asoki must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stare.
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please.
What kind of voice should this guy have? Any suggestions? Let's see about the chat. No, the sacrifice has always been 5,000, Atzeri. Downloadum says, if he was shot in that area, he wouldn't have bled out, but most likely died by their lung getting punctured and due to the bullet wound drowned in his own blood. I mean, that is a possibility. It kind of depends. Anyway. Willie says needs a snobby voice. Of course, my name... No, that's not good. Gosh. Dang it. Meaning he bled out, but it was mostly internal bleeding, hence the lack of a puddle. Also could be, but they don't really do an autopsy like that, so if they say he bled out, it kind of implies. There is a Runosuke Uryu from Stay Nights. Looks like he's dead inside. Oh, Azuri says, oh wait, okay, I'm waiting. Willie suggests something a bit nasally. Ah, okay, Azuri says, it's so Ichiro Kuzuki. Okay, so let's see. Something nasally. Nasally and dead inside. Let's see, maybe something along these lines then, you know.
A little bit. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at the Western-style restaurant called Le Carnival. The Carnival, probably. I am bleeding in my mouth. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Does he have, like, tuberculosis or something? Downland says monotone and flat sounds more like Byakuya Kuchiki. I think that would go a little bit too deep for this guy, though. Well, it really should.
As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It became a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery.
Auchi did. Does he mean Oriental? 3 days ago.
Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident.
At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We had few diners at the time. We had few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits with my memory too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen putting away crockery and cutlery. Oh no, why's my tea gone? A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. I swear to God, there is a bullet hole in that steak side! And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw. You amateur!
But the next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized. Penalized? Penalized? Penalty? Penalized! Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Rinosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must quietly listen to the witness. Ugh.
If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today?
Yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
Dramatic pause there. No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around the table. What's the matter, Rinosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? We don't have evidence for this right now, I don't think. So we're gonna wait, I'd say. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never have got into Yume University otherwise. I'd never have gotten there. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it.
Yes!
Why does he say yes? Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard of court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to... What? Why is he lying? I'm pretty sure that's lie. Ow. Position in this chair. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Hello, Le Memoir. First time playing this one. I used to play the old trilogy when I was in high school. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Then how are you surprised of people lying? Would anyone be surprised about people lying, period?
So, the court has now heard a precise of the case.
Let's see the court record. I want to have a look at this thing. Kitchen. Entrance. Magnifying glass. Does this tell me things? I want to flip it. So the entrance, you know, you go past here. Marriage table is there. Well, I guess we'll get to it later.
Yes, the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity of the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you.
In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Nunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out this witness. Or witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is.
Indeed. Prosecutor Auchi, please continue with proceedings.
Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Uh-oh.
I mean, who can be scared of this guy?
A few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses.
Very well, officer. Bring forth the witness at once. Witnesses, multiple, plural, things. Yes.
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court.
He looks like a guy who could have a gun. Oh god, so many characters. So quickly. Soldier Nosa. Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Yesanosa. Reporting for duty. I think that this guy's... I actually see this guy's name pun. It's yes sir, no sir. See? How do I do this? I have already a gravelly voice for the bailiff and the judge. We need something a bit different.
Maybe we will have just very hard arts on this one. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Yesa Nosa, reporting for duty, sir.
Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of line articles of antiquity from the...
No, not that's too old woman. Myself, I find employ as purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence, yes, from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premise in the 2nd District, Kyuryo Korekuta, at your service. Kyuryo Korekuta.
An antique dealer and a soldier, but an unusual pairing.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curious with which I make my business. I can't understand a word of that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. Demon says, honestly, Anna Zuri should play this game together, you for the gameplay and her to explain the words of 4 or more syllables. He obviously targets the Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see, although, to be honest, that Sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct?
Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in that what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir.
This man's as impossible to understand as the other. Not really. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yeah. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start.
Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Yes, sir!
There's like a baby sound there. Oh, I think he's wearing a baby thing. I think he has a baby in his back. That's what that is.
Standing by, ready to report, sir.
Unsavory memories of the most... No, that's the wrong... This is an old woman. How did I do his voice? Unsavory memories of most... A acerbic afternoon. Something like that. Tremble. What the witnesses saw. I'm just gonna read this normally so that I can focus on the content a little bit. I was investigating a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtue of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. I think that the baby cries whenever he's lying. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back the cowardly little... Ooh, we didn't shoot from the back. He was shot from the front. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysterious absconded precious curio.
Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed that vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked undercity cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy.
Oh, he has a knife. Look at that. What a pretty little knife.
What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day.
But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes. All I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed that an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down and just as I was picking it up, bang. Well, if that's the truth, then there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there is a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Yeah, we know. Do it now. Yes.
As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice.
Certainly. The testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict.
Hello.
What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst?
I mean, the defense demands its right to cross-examination.
Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimagi headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
How did you know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazume is so commanding.
Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses.
Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination.
Stop explaining the rules to me. Isn't it obvious you have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements?
How? You didn't fire the gun, which means that the soldier said what the soldier said has to be a lie. Yeah. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key of doing that is evidence. Right. Evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. Cross-examination. Alright, so... I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant. That is perfectly normal. And he was looking at some sort of curio. That is fine. Alright, and here it is. So I'm just gonna see. It did not pass through. And gunshot to the chest. So I'm just gonna... Well, I could just present, I suppose. No need to press, so...
Yes!
Oh, he's sweating. What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Trusting my wad of papers in my mustache. This wad of papers in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There is a clear inconsistency here.
What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just don't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require any explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here in the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant, yes sir, no sir.
Yes, sir. What, sir?
The statement you just made was this. The black-uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be.
And why not, cadet?
Like, he's even holding the baby behind himself. That's why his arm's behind his back. Because... As it clearly stated on the post-mortem report, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound. Bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that's obviously a discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it?
Pepe!
That is so cute. What was that? Something just popped from behind his back, but he pushed it down again.
Certainly. There is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir.
What?
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Hehe. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there. He was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up from the floor.
And you, old man? You didn't see the moment the victim was shot either.
Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure.
Treasure?
Indeed! The Hoei-era Kopan, my prized coin.
Oh goodness, his teeth.
On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place it in my bosom pocket, a particular trinket of interest from my shop Rasute.
In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you?
On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I proffered my Hoei treasure. Believe that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished.
The Koban vanished?
Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened.
I think the baby ate it. You heard the gunshot, you mean?
Indeed I did, but I heeded it not. I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Absconded. Nothing could distract me.
Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end?
No.
I see.
That lamentable day, the precocious Hoei Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prized coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon.
Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now.
What is your position, Prosecutor Auchi?
Ha ha. Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there's only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he?
Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir.
Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think.
Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Aido.
It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny.
Aido. Dean Shan! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy.
The true culprit. And again, I'm gonna read testimonies in normal voice. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. It's not? Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in back. That much myself did see. In black, not back. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out. Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, Consul?
True, there is only one serving here.
Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken...
But why is he facing away from the food, then? I wonder. And maybe the thing is just a shadow and not like a bullet hole. Isn't this just away from him because he's facing the other direction, right? I don't know. Why is he facing the other way?
Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print.
The steak was whole when he was shot, wasn't it? Looks like it.
Someone ate some of the steak. It would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
This doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
It's alright, guys. I'll forgive you this once. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman.
The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well.
But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him.
It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as well we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Taketsuchi Auchi, will have contributed to the amenity of these two great empires is an honor.
Take means mushroom. Tsuchi. Taketsuchi. Tsuchi, and it's a pretty familiar word, but I can't remember what it means. Oh well. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Dude.
Stand tall, Rinosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination,
Or draw out the sword, apparently.
I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the...
The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick. Understood?
Rules can be so unbending at times.
Ugh. Sorry, I almost forgot to use the voice. Alright, let's check the court record first. Actually, that side of the steak is not fully visible, but it's definitely been eaten more. That's true. Let's check out the placement of the fork and all that. The fork looks pretty much the same. It is actually pretty nicely concealed by the fact that it's partially covered by the chair in the angle. Are there any other differences? It looks like the bottle is in a slightly different angle, but I think that that's irrelevant here. Looks almost like someone just like took the steak and took like bites out of it straight away. See how it looks like it just has... Actually, you know what, guys? I'm just gonna change one thing real quick so you can see my mouse so that I can point at things. Alright, can you see my cursor, guys? Oh, I could have done this. So, anyway, over there. It looks like someone just took a bite out of it. I wonder which table each of these people was at. It's a bit odd also, now that I think about it, that it suggests that every table has 4 seats. This clearly only has 2 chairs. Well, anyway, let's have a look. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment, it's not the same thing. Pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. You didn't really say that, but... Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman dining all by himself. Therefore, no other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out. We could just press for starters. Let's press this.
Yes!
So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone?
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in.
So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well.
I mean, they're really pushing this steak eating part really hard.
Only a single beef steak on the victim's table, a meal for one.
No. The antique dealers, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. Willis's statement. Okay, that's kind of good. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. I'm gonna have to kind of press this one a little.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor. And he just keeps going that way. I just finished drinking my coffee and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. Temlum says, well, stake your claim. And exactly at that moment, bang. A gunshot rang in my ears.
Full of events beyond our control, life is. And Korekota Yoda shall be called.
Sorry, what do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Coban from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result.
And Willie says, well done, Artemis. You guys are too much.
Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I did see you. With pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Okay, I think we can present the evidence of the eaten steak here. I hope. I wanted to press and look around a little bit to try and be sure, but this seems the most valid bit.
Yes!
That statement is clearly odd. I think he's not gonna approve that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, kind of figured. Yeah. I think we need to press everything.
Yes!
No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference in opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this defendant.
Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. I am so good at my job.
What?
Station!
The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antique dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Korekuta-san?
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's stable. There was a lady there.
Screaming! As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
Did no one see Kazuma leave, I wonder? If only there'd be more people dining at the time, then people else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect.
Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What is that, Counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
At a clinic.
Ooh!
Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m.
The very day of the incident.
So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case.
I wonder. What do you think, Runosuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it would be useful. I think it would be. Yes?
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds?
Uh...
The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival to the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence.
Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record.
The victim's okay. Medical was found in the victim's pocket. Can I have a look at it now? Why can't I look at it? So rude. Head waiter. What we read right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. Oh, sorry, Atsiri, did I misread it? I am so sorry.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like. But it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt.
Oh, they typed it wrong. Okay, that's good. I mean, once you're aware, my personal mistakes.
Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Horakuta-san.
Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman dining all by himself.
Well, actually, this is not entirely true. Those two guys could have done it. The waiter could have done it.
Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth?
What? What did you say, cadet?
I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed, but for both of you to have failed to see Professor's dining companion, it's just impossible.
Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone.
Sorry?
The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone.
Can we cross-examine that guy again, please? That's right.
Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady.
But I...
If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time.
There's nothing I can say to that. Excellent work, Rinosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got there. Oh, you mean this?
Why can't I take a look at it?
Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the only ones you may examine. Press A and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. And then use your things. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using, yes, your left stick. You can move the crosshair around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Yes, I use my sticks. What be this? I can open it! Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed, so he wouldn't have been eating steak. Uh-huh. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Blah. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure, until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report card's information has been updated. Okay, so we have that. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to this testimony again, don't you? Definitely. But I want to play around more. Let me play around more. Can I rotate this? Okay, so I can look at these things a little bit more closely now. Why does that look like a bullet hole? It bugs me. Alright, let's see what's in here. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Queen of Zero says Lumi requires a greater amount of puzzles in this detective title. Look, did you see? It says the witness's name here. Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. So he's not a waiter at all. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding, it's somehow here. The waiter's business card information has been updated to the court record. Yeah. Is there anything there? Oh. It's... Same thing. Okay. So it's this entire side. Does this tell me anything new? This plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything in the moment following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you saw there. Exactly, and that's not all. Look here in the upper left, where it says kitchen. Oh yes, what of it? No one would use that complicated characters to write kitchen, especially not if they were in a hurry. You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Ryunosuke. Okay. Set back for now. Can I rotate this? Yeah. Big tooth mark. Okay. Alright, so we needed to press... I think this is where we present the card. Wrong button?
Yes!
Well, I think, about what you are withering, lad. Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright? And thanks for the advice. Okay. Korekuda-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. I see. And I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant, and this is not at all true.
But that's, Remember, Yunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides him, this pale-faced Yes, sir.
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hata Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted.
Huh? What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating.
Just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what?
It's all written in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't.
Korekuta-san.
What, boy? What?
As you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No!
Additionally,
There's more?
you have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we know now, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthesia. I will not do screaming. Expertly done, partner.
What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food of the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you?
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely.
Man, I'm late. Hope I don't go into trial from that bull.
Mikado says, no, you're fine. Welcome to the stream, and thank you for continuing your subscription on the channel. It's very much appreciated.
So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel.
Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been as yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes, there was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. Blah. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma.
Are you insane? You would take on the government.
Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury. And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No! What about the baby? Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as Esteban says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Korekuda-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now, hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you saw a gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair?
Just one. Just one simple slip of the tongue.
Bebe.
Order, order! Consul, explain what is going on here.
It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this.
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut?
Well, that's classified.
So you're prepared to be tried as conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Yunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. Maybe the military, because there are so many military people in the courtroom now. However, I don't believe Auchi had any idea about it. Well, definitely not. He's not that smart. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, one of the guys is police, so... Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If you can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Well, I guess we already know that one of these guys is a cop, because Lumi had to run ahead and... But how? How can we possibly... I already have it! Remember how we made progress before? Before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. I already have it! Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have. We have to re-examine everything, make sure there's nothing we missed. There's no time to lose.
I have it. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing.
And what does the defense have to say about all this?
Well, Your Excellency? No time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes to my head. Alright, we got this. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witness is... this guy.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san.
Hosonaga-san? Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier.
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were...
Come on, Rinosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity, as proven by this piece of evidence. Here. Oh, sorry, I just went to examine it. I thought. I am so sorry. Putting you guys through this again. Alright, here we go.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm sure we can't conclude anything, I'm not sure.
Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the back of the card. That's interesting.
I beg your pardon?
Or perhaps I should have said the front? I mean, yes. It's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Linguistic gymnastics.
Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say?
Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession.
The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious!
That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter's a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are considered. So when this is there in the stand, was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene?
Well...
No, he wants to talk. Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility.
The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well...
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. Yes, it happened like... just now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all the investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working at as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be... I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide.
Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court.
Of course, Your Excellency.
We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, her testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable.
As I suspected. Bang. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite of the victim at the table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then when I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say? Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. Huh? The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them is studying in the medical faculty research laboratory. Is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty.
What? What is happening here?
Ah. I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of ruling in order to send a telegraphic report to the Great Britain. Yeah. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett, and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all my investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem. Oh, poor guy. Nothing will get in my way. Except a little bit of tuberculosis.
Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Britt to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Giselle Britt.
Yes.
Your Excellency!
Good. Then we will have 30-minute recess before reconvening.
To be continued. Alright, we're absolutely saving our current progress. Here. Yes. Save complete. Alright. That's actually pretty cool. This is really fun. Although I will have to say one thing, I am perhaps gonna have to put a limit of about 2 hours for each session because my throat will have limited capacity for handling so much reading. So, with that being the case, I think we're gonna end our session here. Goodness gracious, I really, really love these games. The start is always a little bit slow, and I've noticed that very oftentimes when I play the Ace Attorney games, I kind of want to jump ahead, and then I need to wait for the right moment for that evidence presentation to come up. So I will need to watch myself for that, first and foremost. Anyway, guys, thank you for your company, and we will be tackling the Ace Attorney Chronicles again next Saturday. I will still be playing the Final Fantasy games every once in a while, so if you want to keep up with those, just join the Borealis house and you will get an alert for yourself before I stream. Either way, thank you so very much. I hope you'll have a great weekend. Many, many, many hugs to you, and I will see you next week. Bye.